Hey everyone, welcome back to Way to Get this is episode 61 about cheating in regards to mental health. There will be some secondhand story time and some things I need to talk about. First, let's dive in with asking why does a person cheat? That's the question of the century. Now, this is what the research said. People cheat in relationships due to a combination of emotional dissatisfaction, a desire for novelty, and personal insecurity. Desire appreciated or lonely, seeking an ego boost, and need for escape from a stale relationship, or as a way to handle personal issues. Now, some key reasons for infidelity include emotional disconnection, a feeling that partners have drifted apart, leading to a lack of intimacy, attention, or validation, a need for novelty and excitement, the desire for a new high, and risk behavior, insecurity and self esteem issues, using validation from others to temporarily mask personal inadequacies, and relationship issues, unresolved conflict, poor communication, or using cheating as a way to sabotage or escape the relationship, personal entitlement or narcissism. Personality traits such as high narcissism can lead to partner's feelings. And then we have revenge, acting out of anger to retaliate for a partner's past behavior. While some cheating is driven by addiction, impulses, others may occur due to lack of commitment or a selfish desire for gratification. 100%. Now, I've been around cheaters a lot. When I worked at the deli, a lot of the married men in the kitchen would cheat with the girls on their spouses and vice versa. A lot of the girls would cheat on their significant others with the married men. Like it was just, or people in relationships. I was always there to collect a check, do my job. I was at a different stage of my life. I was in early 30s and in my 20s, maybe have I crossed the line with people, not married people, but like people in general and crossed the line with people in relationships, not in a sense, like it- not as bad as these girls were doing it. People had actual families and things like that. But when I was young, I did need a lot of healing. I look at those girls, I'm like, they needed a lot of healing. They had a lot of things to work through. And the person I am now is a complete girls girl. And I would never talk to someone in a relationship at this point in my life or cross any line. Now, speaking of the healing part, um, a lot of healing was definitely needed on my part, and I take a complete accountability for any lines that I crossed in my early 20s or anything, any line I've crossed in general, and or anyone I've hurt. I'm sorry for that. I needed healing, and I'm sorry. And I look at those girls, and I'm like, okay, they definitely need a lot of things, have a lot of things to work on, and we're going to talk about that. So let's talk about the mental health of individuals involved in breaking. They call them homewreckers, often involves complex emotional states, including low self-esteem, intense and a need for validation. They may experience anxiety, depression, and a sense of isolation. The relationship ends, with some studies showing high rates of subsequent unhappiness. Common mental health and psychological aspects, low self esteem and validation seeking. Some individuals in this position may suffer from poor self image, using the validation from a taken partner to feel chosen or special and emotional turmoil. While some may feel justified, others experience significant long term guilt, anxiety, and shame, sometimes leading to emotional distress. The lack of emotional maturity. Behaviors can be driven by a lack of emotional maturity, leading to poor decisions and disregard for the impact of others, deception and trauma. If the person was not aware of the marriage, they may experience trauma from the deception. If they were aware, they may deal with the emotional fallout of being a secret partner. And isolation and judgment. Due to societal stigma, these individuals often feel isolated and judged, which can exacerbate mental health struggles. 100%. Now, I'm going to give a little bit of story time without giving any names or anything. There was a girl that I knew, and I'm not going to say how I knew her, just without like throwing her under the bus. She was in a relationship where she was the other person with the guy she was currently with, and that did hurt. The obviously that caused hurt to somebody else, but I liked both her and the person that was cheated on, both liked them as individuals, nice people. I got to know the girl more who was the other person, and people often judged her and said like mean things about her. and I liked her. I still like her. If I went to that place and I saw her, I would say hi. I have no problem with her. And she did, I will say that girl did take accountability when I was having a one-on-one conversation with her. She did take accountability for the hurt that she caused or what happened. But her and that person were happy, and she was like, I regret how I went about it? Yes, but like she took accountability, and I looked at that as like a big thing because hearing other people saying the things they were saying about her, and I oftentimes like I never held that against her because I was like, okay, like before I knew any of this information about what she was involved in, I liked her as a person, and she took accountability, and I hope that the person that they, cheated on, like I hope she knows that person took accountability and go from there. But it's sad, but as long as somebody takes accountability, that's all to me. I look at them and I'm like, okay, as long as you know what you did was wrong and you're not somebody who's boasting about it. When I've been in situations where somebody was the other person in the relationship and they completely just tried to rub it in the other person's face and like do like shady things towards them. There's like so many different like people in different scenarios, and it's sad. But let's move on to the topic. Now, common motivations and behaviors, ego and challenge. Some are driven by the desire to win the person away from their spouse, seeing it as competition. 100%. I just said that. Like people rub it in the other person's face or make the other like have total disregard for other people. And listen, it's as long as you take accountability at the end of the day and you know, like, listen, how I got into this relationship wasn't the right way, but I feel sorry for that person. And like, you know what I mean? Like, as long as you take accountability. Manipulation, in some cases, behaviors like gaslighting or what one cosmopolitan media articles calls pick me tactics are used to drive a wedge between the couple. In rationalization, many convince themselves that the existing marriage was already broken, as noted in a Quora thread. Now, it is important to note that the primary responsibility for maintaining marital vows lies within the spouse who is cheating, though the affair partner often faces significant emotional consequences. Now, this is my favorite thing I want to talk about: social media and infidelity. Now, so many times I have said how, like, social media, now that it's more prevalent in society, has really, really made cheating more accessible to people. 100%. Like I heard so many different stories when I was friends with that group of people I partied with. I would hear like off the cuff conversations about like, oh yeah, her boyfriend would send me people cheating or DMing people that they knew, but then they would be smiling in their face, not telling them, oh, your boyfriend's like all this drama, like someone's boyfriend DMing this one and then this one not knowing. Like it was just so let's talk about social media and infidelity. So social media has revolutionized infidelity by making it easier to initiate, conceal, and normalize emotional or physical cheating through increased discreet access to partners, exes, and strangers. It enables micro cheating, such as liking photos or private messaging, which fosters jealousy, lowers relationship trust, and blurs the lines of commitment. Now, key changes in cheating behavior. Now, lowered barriers to entry. Platforms make it simple to reconnect with past partners or find new ones, removing logistical challenges of traditional in-person cheating. Digital concealment. Cheaters use disappearing messages and fake profiles to hide, making infractions harder to detect. Normalization of behavior. Many individuals do not view online affairs, intense secretive messaging as real cheating, lowering the threshold for engaging in it. And increased surveillance and suspicion. The ease of monitoring partners' likes, follows, and friend list has led to heightened jealousy, increased snooping, and lower trust and blurring the lines. Micro cheating, liking pictures, direct messaging, and maintaining secret, deep, or sexualized online conversations are now considered a form of digital infidelity. And the impact on relationships, emotional entanglement, digital, often 24/7 connectivity allows for deep emotional bonds form quickly, sometimes without ever meeting in person, and the constant potential for interaction with others, combined with the pressure of comparing one's relationship to curated, perfect lives on social media, can lead to insecurity and, in some cases, divorce. Now, there's some people that back in the day that used to message me when I was like in my Kick phase. Remember Kick from like social media? I used to post like my Kick and people would message me. I would talk to a lot of guys, and a lot of the guys would add me. This was like back in like 2012, 2013 ish. A lot of the guys would message me and they had girlfriends. And I knew this because they would add me on Instagram, and a lot of them had girlfriends and they would DM me and I wouldn't even answer. So like I went and I would just completely ignore them because I'm like, honey, you're not gonna find soulmate in me when when I'm not gonna be the type of person that's gonna enable you doing that to your partner. 100%. So I went from, being somebody who maybe crossed a little bit of lines with people to somebody who completely respected the boundaries of the girlfriend involved and these guys messaging me. So like I said, I did, learn from my behavior, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna talk to this guy because he has a girlfriend, and I know that the girlfriend is gonna like I would not want to devastate somebody else because God forbid that happens to me. You know what I mean? So like you can change your behavior in that aspect, but a lot see it a lot on social media. A lot of guys in relationships will message girls or vice versa. Girls in relationship will message guys. It's not cheating is not something that is strictly like based on like, oh, just men. Women do it too. I've had friends cheating, like not a friend of a friend that I would hear things about cheating on her boyfriend with somebody she knew from the past, or or she would have somebody accept a gift for her from the guy while she was still in the relationship. I did not condone that. That was whatever. But like it's not just men who cheat, women cheat as well, and I've witnessed it. It's sad, but a lot more it's a lot more common for guys to catch the flack with cheating. And as somebody who I like to call myself a feminist, I like to see both sides of things. Like feminism is like, equal, like you men and women equally. And I will say, like, equally, men and women are cheaters. And I'm not just going to sit here and say that all guys are the same. Not all guys are the same, but it's, both women do it. And I look at some of the women that do it and I'm like, okay, like, you obviously have your reasons, yes. And men also have the reasons as well. But it kind of like, I don't know, it's sad. But like I said, I've never been in a full on relationship, mostly situationships. But the person that I was in a situation with, you guys remember that guy. I have spoken about him. I haven't talked about him in a while, but I won't divulge too many like deep details with what I'm about to talk about out of respect because I do love him and like but out of relevance to the topic, a lot of the stories that I have are based on like situations, and he was cheated on multiple times by the person he was with while he was in love with me. And he did continue to forgive him regardless of him being in a full-on relationship, STD scares and like things like that. Like it's crazy. And like it's crazy to see the cognitive dissonance of a lot of the people that are cheating, of like the cognitive, and we'll talk about that because I have that, but I think that's further along in this topic. The cognitive dissonance of like, oh, I'm so sorry, like crying their eyes out to you, saying so sorry, like crying to the point they almost throw up, and like them doing that to them continuing to go back and doing what they're doing after telling you they love you and that please forgive me. So we're going to talk about it. So like a lot of people's breakups with cheaters are blessings in disguise because you go on to be in relationships with people that will prove to you that all this stuff I went through was like I've moved on to find like the love of my life or be with the love of my life. And they're making me see why things didn't work out with other people. And then there's people who forgive. And that's okay. Forgiving with infidelity, people do change. Some people don't. Some people do. We've seen a lot of celebrities like forgive their cheating spouses. And like, we'll talk about Hillary, the most famous ones. Hillary Clinton forgave Bill Clinton for his infidelity. Um, Beyonce forgave for infidelity. And, like you see her and Jay-Z have been together ever since. They've gone on to be happy. And you know what? That is somebody's prerogative. And often, and I'll talk about it, Jelly Roll and Bunny. Like, I watch her podcast. I love her. She speaks often about how Jelly in the past has cheated on her and she's gotten over it. But the thing is, like, the public doesn't get over it. The thing is, like, you can be in somebody's comment section talking about, like, oh, how did you forgive this one for cheating on you? It's like, okay, like, I've moved on from my spouse or my partner cheating on me. Why can't the public do the same? It's like people projecting their unhealed like opinions on other people. Like if Bunny or Beyonce or Hillary Clinton forgave the person and they've moved on and they're happy, why can't people stop throwing it in their face? Because you have to know like that did at one time and still does. And maybe they're still working through it years later. Like they still have some things they need to work on, or you know what I mean? Or maybe they have fully healed from it. You got to stop throwing things like that. The public has to stop throwing things like that in people's faces because it's like, come on, like we've moved forward. Why can't you? So let's talk about forgiving a cheating partner. Now, forgiving a cheating partner can improve mental health by reducing stress, anxiety, and depression while enabling personal growth and closure. However, this requires navigating significant long term emotional trauma. Genuine pace forgiveness is healing, but premature forgiveness can trigger further trauma by ignoring necessary grief and anger. Key aspects of forgiving cheating for mental health, emotional processing. It is essential to experience the full, often nonlinear range of emotions, anger, sadness, and grief before true forgiveness can occur. Rebuilding trust. Recovery involves dealing with the reality of betrayal, which is often a long-term process. The danger of premature forgiveness. Forcing forgiveness too quickly can hinder healing as it bypasses the need for the betrayal partner to process the betrayal and set boundaries. Forthcoming responsibility. Forgiveness is the healthiest when cheating partner takes full responsibility, apologizes, and acts with honesty to repair trust. Individual mental health. Forgiveness is a personal journey, sometimes involving therapy, can empower the betrayed partner to move on, whether they stay in the relationship or leave, and potential challenges. Some, especially in certain studies, found that forgiving cheating can lead to self doubt, internalized resentment, and below to self-worth. And this is a little disclaimer. If you are in a situation involving abuse, fear for your safety, or struggling to cope, seeking professional help from a therapist or counselor is strongly recommended. Now, when someone is cheated on, provided empathetic, non-judgmental support, validating that their feelings of trauma are normal, advise them to prioritize self-care, avoid self-blame, and seek professional help, and take their time to decide on the relationship's future and focusing on regaining um, their personal power and peace. Now, this is for um people giving advice to their loved ones on like cheating, like after cheating, like being there for the person and supporting them, and how you can sit there and give them advice. There's oftentimes and plenty of times people will be like, oh, leave the person, leave the person. You have to sometimes, instead of like giving them advice on a decision to make, that's their decision to make, rather than putting yourself through the frustration of like, I told her to leave and she didn't leave, but like blah blah blah. Like, you have to just let the person make the decision on their own, and if they choose the person to forgive them and it works out, that's on them. But if they choose to forgive the person and they continue to do the same thing over and over again, and it's ultimately their lesson to learn and their decision to make. So let's talk about it. Immediate emotional support. Validate their feelings. Assure them that experiencing pain, anger, or confusion is a normal reaction to a traumatic event. Listen without judgment. Be a safe space for them to vent without immediately telling them what to do. 100%. Don't tell them what decision to make. 100% you're coming from a place of like great, great intentions, but you have to also like listen without judgment. Avoid cliches. Don't offer dismissive phrases, instead offer presence. Self-care and personal action. It is not your fault. Emphasize that the cheater's actions are a reflection of their own choices, not a result of the partner's shortcomings. Prioritize mental health. Encourage seeking therapy or counseling to process the betrayal trauma. Take time for decisions. Advise against making rash decisions in the heat of the moment. Allow the space to grieve and regain emotional stability and reconnect with yourself. Encourage focusing on personal hobbies, friends, and self care to rebuild confidence. Navigating the relationship, get clear with what you want. Help them identify if they are looking for closure, justice, or a way to repair the relationship. Demand accountability. If they choose to stay, it is essential that the unfaithful partner takes full responsibility, shows genuine ongoing remorse, and is willing to do the hard work rebuilding trust. Consider walking away. If the partner is dismissive or defensive, recognize it is a sign to end the relationship to protect one's own peace. Now, help your loved one decide whether to stay or hold on, my sister just texted me. Sorry, it's been a shit show all morning. My poor sister. She loves her kids, but they can be a handful, and I have to watch them later, which is why I'm doing this early today. But sorry, I got distracted by my text message. Let me start over with what I was just talking about. Help your loved one decide whether to stay or leave a cheating relationship by encouraging them to prioritize their own safety, emotional health, or autonomy. Promote self care, encourage professional therapy, and urge them to evaluate if the partner is taking full responsibility, showing remorse, and actively rebuilding trust. Now, how to support someone through this decision. Prioritize safety and self care. Advise them to focus on their well being and, if necessary, seek support from potential safety issues. Encourage professional help. Suggest individuals or couples therapy and infidelity, excuse me. Listen without judgment. Allow them to vent their feelings as this provides a safe space for them to process their emotions. Avoid facing a choice. Respect their autonomy. Let them make their own decisions about whether to reconcile and end the relationship. And encourage journalism. Encourage journalism. Yes, encourage them to boss up and get a career in journalism. Oh my God, I can't. I meant to say encourage journaling. Recommend keeping a journey. Oh, Jesus, that too. Recommend them to go on a healing journey. 100%. I'm going to talk about that, but no, I'm like stumbling on my words. Recommend keeping a journal to track feelings, fears, and behaviors to gain clarity. And key questions to help them evaluate their relationship. Is this true? Is there true remorse? Is the partner taking responsibility, or are they being defensive? Is the partner changing? Are they making consistent long-term changes and showing transparency? And is trust being rebuilt? Are they willing to be open and patient? When supporting a friend, it is important to remember that they must make their own choices in their own time. 100%, and I just said that. Now, supporting a friend who cheated by support a friend who cheated. Okay, I'm like losing it now. Support a friend who cheated by practicing non-judgmental listening, encourage accountability, and separating their actions from their character. Offer consistent low energy social interaction to prevent isolation while encouraging therapy for self reflection to understand the why behind their actions. Listen without judgment. Create a safe space to discuss the situation without immediately jumping to solutions or harsh condemnation. Encourage responsibility. Gentle guide them to take ownership of their actions, emphasizing that cheating is a conscious choice, not by accident. Advocate for self reflection and therapy. Encourage them to explore the underlying reasons for the cheating, such as unmet needs, insecurity, or relationship issues. Provide emotional support, validate their feelings while holding them accountable, helping them navigate guilt or shame, and avoid enabling. Do not make excuses for their behavior or help them cover up the betrayal. No actions to take. Check in regularly. Send simple messages to show you care as they may feel isolated. Offer distraction. Invite them to low stress activities like watching a movie or taking a walk. Maintain boundaries. Ensure you do not become enmeshed in their crisis to take their emotional burden. And it is not your relationship. Respect that they must make their own choices regarding their whether to reconcile with their partner and the relationship, and avoid tough love. Harsh judgments may cause them to withdraw. Focus on the future. Help them focus on moving forward and learning from the mistake. Forgiving a cheating partner is up to the person doing the forgiving. Some people can change and some people don't. Now, I asked, can cheaters change? And this is what it says. Now, that is the question for the century. Can they change, or do leopards never change their spots? Let's talk about it. Yes, cheaters can change, but it is not guaranteed and requires significant personal effort, introspection, and a genuine desire to understand and address the underlying causes of their actions. While some may never change, others can mature and evolve if they truly are remorseful and commit to long term behavioral changes. True remorse, the person expresses deep guilt and shame rather than just being sorry they were caught. Accountability. When I think of that part, I think of Rihanna's Take a Bow, that song. How about a round of applause, standing ovation? Like, you look so dumb right now. Like, somebody just sitting there trying to gain your forgiveness when they have like completely unchanged behavior. Like, that song just came to mind. And I actually, as part of this topic, I gave songs to help people with going through, trauma from cheating. So, all right, okay, accountability. They take full responsibility for their actions without blaming their partner or circumstances. Understanding causes. They work to understand the personal or relationship issues that led to the behavior. Behavioral shifts. They demonstrate a willingness to change, such as pursuing therapy or being completely transparent. And maturity. Sorry, maturity. Younger individuals may be more capable of changing after a young and dumb phase, whereas entrenched behavior in older adults can be harder to break. Now, challenges and considerations, not a given. Changing is a choice, not a guarantee, and many individuals may not change. Long term process, it is a lifelong road of continuous work and self reflection, not an instant fix, and focus on self. Genuine change often occurs when the person works on themselves, sometimes outside of the relationship. And ultimately, while change is possible, rebuilding trust is slow, difficult process that requires consistent positive behavior over a long period. Now, it's insane the amount of times that I witness that guy's ex cry and want to be taken back just to run around and do it all again. Like, or just people in general, the amount of times they really convince you that they are sorry just to go cheat again. And it's almost like scary how they'll beg for forgiveness just to not change the behavior, which kind of like, I feel like, would that be considered cognitive dissonance? Um, but I feel like it signals deeper issues. And you witness men in the public eye. And I'll give an example. Remember Future and how dirty he did Ciara, which she actually moved on and she's happy. She's with Russell Wilson now. But the way she was dogged out by Future, everyone kind of looked at Future with like a side eye. Like, he would brag about how he like has no, and in multiple songs, he has bragged about showing no remorse. And you kind of look at that, and like some people were like, oh yeah, this is totally cool. But you kind of like look at him and you're like, okay, like, I'm trying not to look at you with judgment. But the fact that you like wrecked your whole family and you did it with pride and no remorse, it kind of makes you question, like, is that narcissism? So let's talk about it. A narcissistic cheater often displays a high sense of entitlement, a lack of empathy, and an excessive need for admiration, placing their needs above their partners. Cheating for them is often driven by a need for validation, power, stimulation rather than the lack of love, and they frequently use denial, distortion, and projection to defend their actions. Entitlement and self centeredness. They feel entitled to pursue their desires, often disregarding the emotional impact on their partner. Lack of empathy. They struggle to understand or care for the pain they caused by their infidelity. And narcissistic defenses. When confronted, they may use deflection, projection, and denial and avoid accountability. Also, gaslighting is one of those things. Validation seeking infidelity often serves to boost their ego. Need for admiration. Now, leaving a relationship with a narcissistic cheater is recommended to avoid further emotional damage, often requiring the establishment of a support system. Now, I kind of want to talk about something fun now. Let's break it up a little bit. Let's talk about movies involving narcissistic cheaters and manipulators. Now, movies featuring narcissistic cheaters and manipulative partner include Gone Girl, Fatal Attraction, Mad Men with Don Draper. I Love You, My Narcissist, and Enough. Oh my god, Enough was such a good movie. That movie with Jennifer Lopez. That's one of my favorite movies. Okay, let's talk about it. So, Gone Girl, 2014, features extreme manipulation and calculated betrayal. Fatal Attraction, 1987. highlights obsessive narcissistic behavior and infidelity. We have I Love You, My Narcissist, a 2026 film, focuses on gaslighting and coercion in romantic relationships. Mad Men, the series. Character Don Draper exhibits classic high functioning narcissistic traits, including chronic infidelity. I'd never actually seen that. And if it's on Netflix, I kind of want to watch it because I love John Hamm. We have Enough, a 2002, portrays the impact of narcissistic abuse and control within a marriage. That's a great movie. Jennifer Lopez is in that. That is a great movie. A lot of her early 2000s movies are like great, and I have to say Enough was definitely one of my favorite. We have White Oleander, 2002, explores the impact of narcissistic mother. Real Pain illustrates vulnerable narcissistic patterns and trauma bonding. And Mean Girls, why Mean Girls? Features a protagonist with narcissistic personality disorder. Are we talking about Regina George and how she was cheating on Aaron Samuels? Like, I don't know how Mean Girls is one of them, but it gave it as part of the. But I will say, Regina George was cheating on Aaron Samuels. Would that be considered? That's so weird how they're just giving like a mental illness to like a movie that I look at and it's like one of my favorite movies, Mean Girls. That's weird. Okay, these movies often highlight the 4 Ds of narcissism: deny, dismiss, devalue, and divorce. Now, the craziest thing I have to say is that guy, his ex played the movie, and I remember this, and I don't remember bringing this up and be like, oh my God, do you remember how we had that movie night with the guy that he was cheating with, and all of us were in a movie night, and he played the other woman? I'll never forget that because, like, a few weeks later, the cheating was like found out, and I look back at that, I'm like, "Oh my God, he played the other woman. Was he trying to, like, play in people's faces with that? Like, that's disgusting." Anyway, let's talk about The Other Woman. It's one of my favorite movies with Cameron Diaz, Leslie Mann, and Kate Upton. It's a 2014 film. It's a comedy. I remember watching it with my grandma, actually. It's the first time I watched it. That was a 2014 film. She died 2015. So I do remember sitting and having lunch with her and watching that, but I watched it more as, I got older. Is a comedy centered around three women: Carly, Cameron Diaz, Kate, Leslie Mann, and Amber, Kate Upton, who unite to seek revenge against Mark, a man cheating on all of them. Simultaneously, instead of focusing on traditional forgiveness, the film explores the themes of female empowerment, friendship, and self-worth. Yes, I totally recommend watching that. Cheating and betrayal. The film revolves around a narcissistic serial infidelity of Mark, who lies to his wife, and multiple mistresses to lead a double life or triple life. Female solidarity over rivalry. Rather than fighting each other, the women form a bond, realizing they are all victims of the same man, 100%. Empowerment and revenge. The core theme is that the women do not need the cheating man. They take control of their lives and orchestrate humorous, sometimes gross out punishments against him, and forgiveness. The narrative emphasizes forgiving oneself and finding self-worth. Oh, I think my dad's home. My dog's going crazy. The forgiveness. The narrative emphasizes forgiving oneself and finding self-worth rather than forgiving the unfaithful partner who is ultimately discarded. The movie serves as a lighthearted comedic take on betrayal, focusing on friendship and personal strength rather than reconciliation. Now, what I find weird is when people who are friends of the cheater, they will smile in your face knowing damn well what is going on and not a care in the world. Some have a conscience and some don't. Let's talk about it. Now, people encourage friends to cheat, often due to shared toxic values, a desire to normalize their own poor behaviors, or misguided loyalty that prioritizes the friendship. Hold on. We wait till my dog stops barking. I'm so sorry. I love her, but she goes nuts when people pass the house. Okay, I think she stopped. Okay, let's get back to it. People encourage their friends to cheat, often due to shared toxic values, a desire to normalize. Oh my God. Can I just get to the topic at hand without my dog going crazy and ruining the sound? I think she's done. I don't hear her. Okay. Let's get back to it. People encourage friends to cheat, often due to a shared toxic values, a desire to normalize their own poor behaviors, or misguided loyalty that prioritizes the friendship over the friend's relationship integrity. This encouragement can stem from a desire for shared excitement, validation of selfish behaviors, or poor simple judgment. These key reasons for encouraging infidelity: normalization of behavior. Friends may encourage cheating because it aligns with their own values or past behaviors, making the action feel less wrong. Misguided loyalty. Some friends believe that supporting their friend, regardless of their actions, is the ultimate sign of loyalty, often leading to enabling the behavior. And shared thrill or excitement. Peers may encourage the high of secrecy, novelty, and excitement that comes with breaking relationship values. We have self validation. If the friend group is insecure and holds low self esteem, they might encourage behaviors that feel empowering or special, even if it is destructive. And dislike of the partner. Friends may push for the breakup or infidelity if they dislike the partner, viewing it as a way to end the relationship. And these behaviors can stem from a lack of disregard for ethical standards, often prioritizing immediate self gratification over long term trust and respect. And knowing that a friend is cheating on their partner can create significant mental health challenges, often leading to emotional distress, anxiety, and a compromised sense of trust. The burden of holding the secret can create feelings of guilt, shame, or discomfort, especially if the secret conflicts with the friend's own moral compass. So we have friends who encourage the cheating, then we have friends who know about it and just feel completely bad because now they have become an accomplice because they know about it and they completely feel bad. So we have, on one hand, people who don't feel bad, and on the other hand, people who do feel bad. Let's talk about it. Now, the high stress and anxiety of knowing about your friend's infidelity. The constant fear of letting the secret slip can cause significant psychological strain. The discomfort of holding a secret about a friend's betrayal can lead to anxiety, headaches, and general unhappiness. We have moral disturbances and guilt. The confidant may feel as though they are lying to the victim, which goes against core values regarding friendships and integrity. This can cause a feeling of guilt by association, betrayal, and trauma. Narcissism. Seeing a close friend act dishonestly can make the confidant question if they ever really knew their friend, eroding to trust in the friendship. It can also lead to more cynical view of the relationship, a fear that others cannot be trusted, and the secret of keeping burden. Studies show that it is not just the act of hiding a secret, but the constant repetitive thought about the secret, rumination, and that causes mental issues such as anxiety and loneliness and social isolation. Excuse me, social isolation. The confidant may feel forced to withdraw from the person being cheated on, leading to isolation or a strain on their own relationship with the victim. And the dilemma of loyalty, pressure to enable. Friends of cheaters may feel pressured into silence, which can in turn make them feel like a terrible friend for enabling toxic behavior, or if they speak up, they may feel guilty for resulting drama. And reevaluating the friendship. Many individuals in this situation find themselves questioning whether they should maintain the friendship, as it can cause them to question their own values and character. And coping and protective actions. Now, setting boundaries. Um, Experts suggest that it is acceptable to set boundaries, such as telling the friend or stepping back from the friendship for a time. Prioritizing personal peace. Experts recommend prioritizing one's own emotional well being, as maintaining a secret keeper role can take high toll on the mental health. And encouraging honesty. In some cases, helping a friend plan how to tell their partner rather than covering it up can reduce the burden of the guilt. Now, cheating is a violation of ethical values such as honesty, trust, and promise keeping, often driven by desire for personal gain, validation, and to cope with fear or trauma. It involves deception, such as breaking rules, lying, or violating commitment. While generally viewed as immoral, individuals often justify cheating through rationalization to avoid guilt. So a lot of people rationalize their cheating, and they'll be like, "Oh well, we weren't getting into it, so that's why I cheated myself to go outside." Uh, my mind. Hello? Okay, here we go. My microphone was being annoying. I gotta get a new one now. Another new one. So key aspects of ethics and cheating. Oh, Breach of trust. Cheating is fundamentally seen as a breach of trust, whether in relationships, infidelity, or professional, academic settings. Dishonesty, rationalization, and dissonance. People often experience cognitive dissonance when their actions contradict their moral beliefs, leading them to rationalize their behavior as not really cheating or to blame their partner. The cultural and personal differences, the perception of that constitutes cheating can vary. Some viewing it as a severe moral failure, while others may try to justify it based on context and relationships and morality. While often considered a sign of low morality or lack of character, some perspectives argue that cheating can stem from a deeply rooted emotional pain or fear rather than just a lack of values. I oftentimes I feel like when I hear that, I think of like times that I've been told by a guy, like, oh, like the reason why I have commitment issues is because I was cheated on in the past, or I'm not ready for a relationship because I was cheated on like 20 years ago. I've heard it all. But like when I think of that, I hear about that. But when I hear this, I think about that, I meant to say. Now, the impact on society. Cheating is a widespread issue that affects various areas, including sports, business, and personal relationships, impacting the overall moral fabric of society. Now, let's talk about the cognitive dissonance in cheating, which occurs when a person's actions, the infidelity, um, conflicts with their self image of being good or a loyal person, creating a psychological discomfort. To manage this, cheaters can use mental tricks, minimizing act or blaming the partner, or rationalizing emotional necessity to justify their behavior. So let's talk about it. The conflict. The brain struggles to reconcile the belief that I'm a good person with the action of I'm betraying my partner. The rationalization tactics. Cheaters often reduce discomfort by minimizing. It didn't mean anything, or it was just one time. Blame shifting. My partner doesn't care about me, or they were distant, shifting responsibility. Reframing, viewing the act as uncharacteristic or justified by external circumstances. Moral licensing, justifying the affair by focusing on positive behaviors in other areas of life. And then we have the impact on the relationship. This process helps unfaithful partner avoid the pain of admitting guilt, which can hinder the dishonest communication and reconciliation. And for the partner, the betrayed partner may also experience cognitive dissonance, struggling to reconcile their love for their partner with the pain caused by the betrayal, often leading to mental exhaustion. Now, we all know cheating can have a ripple effect on the person being cheated. So let's talk about it. Yes, being cheated on can cause significant long term physical and mental health issues. It acts as a major stressor that can lead to chronic health problems, weakened immune systems, and symptoms resembling PTSD, such as anxiety, depression, and flashbacks. This trauma can also cause digestive issues, insomnia, and unhealthy coping behaviors. Let's talk about it. Now, physical health. Chronic stress from the betrayal can cause high blood pressure, increased heart rate, and fatigue. It may also lead to a weakened immune system and making you more susceptible to illness. Mental health. Survivors often experience severe anxiety, depression, and PTSD like symptoms, including flashbacks and nightmares, and behavioral changes. It can trigger unhealthy stress induced behavior, which is drastic changes to eating habits, excessive alcohol consumption, or substance use, and neurological impacts. The trauma can rewire the brain for fear, hypervigilance, and making it hard to trust again. And research indicates that those effects can last for a long time, even if you're in a new supportive relationship, seeking support through therapy, self care, and to overcome these effects. Now, infidelity recovery requires specialized mental health support, including couples therapy, to rebuild trust, individual therapy for managing trauma, guilt, or self esteem issues, and support groups to reduce isolation. Key approaches include cognitive behavioral therapy to manage anxiety and trauma, plus practicing mindfulness and journaling. Ways to seek mental health support. Couples counseling, a neutral third party helps navigate the complex emotions to improve communication, establish new and secure boundaries. And then we have individual therapy for the betrayed partner, focuses on processing trauma, managing overthinking, mental health challenges, anxiety. Individual therapy for the leader helps address the underlying causes of the affair, such as addiction, insecurity, or unmet needs. And online therapy platforms offer accessible, specialized care for infertility, such as BetterHelp. Topic at hand. Sorry, microphone. So that online therapy platforms offer was BetterHelp or Talkspace. We have support groups in person sharing experiences and reducing often felt after an affair. The mental health practices for relation helps in managing anxiety, stress, and trauma. Journaling enables processing emotions and tracking progress over time. And open and honest communication, crucial for rebuilding trust and reducing defensiveness. Are focusing on personal well-being to a sense of self. Therapeutic approaches, cognitive behavior therapy to challenge negative thought patterns and manage sex therapy issues, and solution-focused therapy focuses on creating a positive future for the relationship, and it is highly recommended to seek professional help as research indicates 60 to 80% of success in repairing relationships counseling. Ties with the cheating partner after forgiveness is necessary if they show genuine remorse, continue such as remaining in contact with a fair partner or refusing to take accountability and take steps to change. If your emotional well-being is not improving over time or your partner blames you for the betrayal, it is time to leave. Now, here are key indicators that it's time to walk away if you have forgiven them. Honesty, they continue to lie, hide their phone, or refuse their whereabouts. Ongoing contact with the affair partner, they are unable to or unwilling to completely sever ties with the person they cheated with. The lack of real remorse, they show little guilt and some without depth or yet you get over it immediately. Deflecting accountability, they blame you for the situation. Hold on, the mic. Refusing to take personal responsibility, passive effort and reconciliation, the reconciliation. You are doing all the work in therapy to repair the relationship while they are disengaged. And long-term unhappy, even after time has passed, the relationship continues to feel unsafe and you feel that your mental health is severely declining. Ultimately, the decision to leave is justified by the relationship existent or unavoidable pain rather than providing a path for healing and growth. Now, how does one heal from cheating? This is what it is. Healing from infidelity requires treating it as a traumatic event, um, focusing focusing on self-care and rebuilding forth through therapy or support groups. Key steps include allowing time to setting boundaries and if reconciling, fostering empathy and transparency to rebuild trust. Acknowledge the trauma. Recognize that infidelity causes severe emotional, mental, and physical pain, often similar to losing a spouse. Prioritize self-care. Engage in activities that nurture your well-being, such as exercise, journaling, spending time in nature. Seek support. Utilize individual therapy, processing trauma, structured, safe communication, and process emotions safely. Allow yourself to feel anger, sadness, and confusion without judgment, and rebuild. Focus on personal growth in your life. Betrayal define your future. Steps for rebuilding, if reconciling. Create a safe space to discuss the affair with the unfaithful partner, taking responsibility and expressing genuine empathy. Establish transparency. Rebuild trust through honesty and accountability. So, 6-week initial reaction stage to establish safety and mental health. Microphone timed out again. Sorry, guys. Oh my god. I have to get a new microphone. Behavioral therapy to manage negative dialectal behavioral therapy for emotional regulation and support groups. Engage with forums, fair recovery. Now, managing intrusive thoughts and rebuilding this combination of trauma, informed self-care, radical transparency, and consistent long-term effort. Key strategies includes practicing mindfulness, journalizing, oh my, journaling, and utilizing therapy to process emotions. Rebuilding trust hinges on the unfaithful partner becoming fully transparent, reliable, and emotional responsive to the betrayed partner's needs. Managing intrusive thoughts. Acknowledge the name, identify the thoughts. I am feeling scared, I am angry, rather than burying them, which decreases their power. Mindfulness, notice the thoughts without judgment and redirect to the present moment. Grounding techniques. If flooded with thoughts, use physical grounding techniques to put like pushing feet into the floor. Therapist to process. as these are PTSD symptoms and use positive affirmations. Counter negative obsessive thoughts with positive self-affirming statements and social support. Connect with trusted friends or family and members for emotional support. Radical transparency. The partner who cheated must be open about their location, phone, and social media over time through small, consistent actions that align with words, emotional validation, acknowledge the pain caused, and create the safe space for the betrayed partner to express emotions. No contact. Partner must be completely cut off. Understand the why. Discuss of the affair, such as unmet needs or loneliness, and commit to long-term healing. Understand that this is a long-term process, not a quick fix. Now, open communication after cheating requires radical honesty, empathy, and consistent transparency to rebuild safety and consistent transparency to rebuild safety. Key strategies include uninterrupted check-ins, feelings, practicing active listening, without defensiveness, and using I statements. The unfaithful partner must show remorse and provide honest answers while partners focus on rebuilding the trust, consistent, reliable actions. Create safe environment and dialogue. Establish a quiet, distraction-free space for conversations. Ensure practice radical honesty and transparency. The actions, details, and as needed to help the hurt partner process the betrayal. This includes being transparent with daily plans, phone access to rebuild the trust, active listening and empathy, listen to to understand, respond, allowing for the expression of anger or pain without immediate justification. Use my microphone keeps timing out. It's so annoying. Frame emotions using I statements. I feel scared when to avoid blame and defensiveness. Daily check-ins. Dedicate time each day to honest conversations and consistent communication as crucial in the early stages of recovery. And manage emotional reactions. Acknowledge that emotions are not always logical and focus on responding with compassion rather than reacting with anger, and seek professional help. Utilize therapist or relationship coaches to guide. And common pitfall: being defensive, justifying the avoiding the subject. Do not push away the difficult conversations or hope the issues would disappear on their own, like sweeping it under the rug and rushing the process. Understand that healing is a immediate fix. Emotional triggers requires creating a safe, non-defensive space for validation of the betrayed partner's pain, active listening with interruption, and practicing a deep breathing and grounding techniques and maintaining a calm demeanor are crucial for de-escalating the tension. Let's talk about it. So, validate and listen. When triggered, the betrayed partner needs to. The betraying partner should listen without interruption or defensiveness. Acknowledge and own. Recognize when a trigger happens and accept responsibility for the pain caused. Use grounding techniques. Utilize deep breathing, 4 count inhale, exhale, or physical grounding. Feeling the feet on the ground to stay present. Stay present. Avoid withdrawing or becoming aggressive, even if the conversation is difficult. Proactive discussion. Discuss potential triggers ahead of time to prepare for difficult moments. Conversations become too intense. If emotions become overwhelming, take a structured break and return to the conversation when calm. Turns often offer comfort and reaffirm loved ones' initial intense emotions inside, and seek professional help if triggers are too re-traumatizing the partner. And for betraying the partner, show empathy, focus on the partner's hurt and fear rather than your own guilt. Be patient, understand that healing and triggers occur after being in relationships with cheating is developing trust issues. It is so common. Trust issues are something that happen with friendships and mostly cheating, but today's topic is cheating and mental health. So let's talk about trust issues on, and they are normal trauma response, often causing intense anxiety, suspicion, and standard sense of safety. Healing requires rebuilding self-confidence, setting firm boundaries, and staying fostering critical transparency. It is a long process that requires patience, self-care, and often therapy to address the emotional wounds. So, steps to heal and rebuild trust. Validate your feelings. Understand that feelings of insecurity, anger, and suspicion are normal. Prioritize self-care. Engage in activities process your emotions and reduce stress, rebuild self-confidence, rebuilding trust in yourself and in your instincts rather than focusing on solely partner who betrayed you. Now, practice radical honesty. If trying to reconcile, partners must commit to absolute honesty and transparency, as safety is more important than trust initially. So there are boundaries, clearly communicate, feel, and what you need to feel secure and establish firm boundaries to prevent future issues and avoid constant checking. While tempting, monitoring phones or social media can create a cycle of tension and hinder healing, and seek professional supports. Therapy can help you process trauma and work through the emotional fallout. If moving forward with the same partner, demand transparency. The partner who cheated should be willing to be open about their whereabouts and communication. Focus on action, not words. Rebuilding the trust takes time and consistent positive actions just promises, and fostering open communication, create a safe space to discuss fears and feelings without judgment. And if your relationship, acknowledge the past, be honest with your partner about your fears, but remind yourself that they are not your ex, and take it slow. Allow yourself time to than forcing it. And to heal trust issues after cheating, focus on open communication, setting clear boundaries, and taking the relationship slowly. Prioritize self-care and consider therapy to address the underlying trauma and focus on the present rather than past triggers. Rebuilding requires consistent actions from your partner over time. Strategies, communication, establish boundaries, go slow, look for consistency, prioritize self-care, use mindfulness, seek support, and it takes time. Trust cannot be rebuilt first. Focus on creating safe environment through honesty and transparency. Before expecting full trust and no guarantees. While you can have a strong new relationship, there is 100%. There is no 100% your partner won't cheat as well, and avoid the past justify abusive behavior towards your new partner. Now, this part of the topic, I'm speaking about these people that I adore. I'm such a fan of all these people that about to talk about, and I'm not doing it in a way to gossip and be like who's like profit off other people's pain, but as a way to be like, okay, like these people went through the same thing you went through, and if you're a fan, you can read their stories about how they were open. And these are mostly people who are open about it. So let's talk about it. Now, several well-known celebrities have spoken openly about being cheated on and how it affected them. Many have shared experiences in interviews, members of public celebrities who have talked about being cheated on, such as Khloe Kardashian. Khloe has spoken publicly about being cheated on by both Lamar Odom and Tristan Thompson. She does social impact on shows like Keeping Up with the Kardashians. News emphasizing healing and self-worth. We have Beyonce. Beyonce addressed infidelity in her marriage with Jay-Z through her album Lemonade. Jay-Z later admitted to cheating and spoke about it in interviews on his album or four. Now, I'm just gonna say something off the cuff. This is not in the notes. I actually, they're such a private couple, Jay-Z and Beyonce. And I remember when they came out with this album, people were like, "Oh my God, the huge private couple is now talking about the past that everybody speculated on." And I actually did go to a Jay-Z concert during the time. It was actually the 444 tour, and he's like, everybody talks about how we were private and like how we don't talk about these things and how we were just keeping it to ourselves, but he lemonade and for them to heal from what they went through as a couple. And he also said, he's like, you can't heal what you don't reveal. So as a public figure, speculate about what went on between you, but in order for you to heal as a couple, like they're both in public, and Jay-Z felt to make these albums so they can heal from it, and I totally respect that. So we'll talk about Sandra Bullock. She discovered her husband Jesse James had been unfaithful shortly after she won the Academy Award for her role in The Blind Side. She later spoke about focusing on and personal healing. The most famous of all, amid his hold on. Okay, oh, this microphone. Her relationship ended amid his relationship with Angelina Jolie after they worked together. Aniston moving on and maintaining dignity through the public I was those people, and I don't like, I remember that when I was younger that story came out. They've all moved on, but I'm only talking about this not in a way to, like, bring up past issues, but talk about it in a way of, like, okay, like, just because somebody like Jennifer Aniston or Beyonce or Sandra Bullock, like, they're all human beings, and it doesn't eliminate how they're treated by their partners just because they're famous and beautiful. Through it, spoke openly about how the issues have affected them and how they've moved on from it. And you look at people like Jennifer Aniston, she's moved on since. She's doing great things, and fair partner Jennifer Angelina, love her, moved on since. Doing great. Like, she seems like she's a changed person. She's doing great things, and Brad Pitt has moved on. Like, everyone's moved on and happy from these stories. Like Sandra Bullock, she has kids now after that, like the whole affair situation. She's moved on to do great things. So all these people have, like, overcome their past issues, talking about them in regards to, like, tell me about it and how it's gonna help people. Shakira confirmed that her longtime partner, Gerard Piqué, was faithful before their breakup in 2022. She admits the betrayal in interviews and songs. Longoria, she ended her marriage during text message. She later spoke about the recovery process. We have Halle Berry. She discussed being cheated on in past relationships and how it affected her self-esteem and trust. Now look at her. She's in a fun relationship with what seems to be the love of her life. She's engaged now. Like, all these people, these things to move on to, like, happier pastures. And then we have Kristen Stewart. Stewart publicly apologized for cheating on Robert Pattinson with director Ruth Sanders, and both actors spoke about the intense media attention afterwards. Than Kristen Stewart, but you can let one situation somebody has gone through, like, as, like, a bad person. And like I spoke about earlier in the episode, how I knew somebody who was other person in a broken up relationship, and she didn't take away from her as a person. I liked her regardless, and she took accountability. Like I said, I can talk about these things in regards to other people being involved or them being the person cheating on the other person, but that doesn't make them a bad person. Mistakes happen, and I oftentimes feel like people make their mistakes, and that I always say that. While some celebrities share these experiences, celebrities often talk about infidelity to normalize the emotional pain and healing process, address public speculation and rumors, connect with fans who have gone through similar experiences, and promote self-respect and personal growth. Many have used their platforms to discuss therapy, forgiveness, boundaries, and rebuilding confidence after betrayal. Now, here are some resources. Now, if someone has been cheated on or cheated themselves and want therapy and support, here are some resources. We have the American Association for Marriage and Family Therapy, directory of salon, a microphone and couples. Okay, so let's get back to it. So let me start over. We have the American Association for Marriage and Family Therapy, directory for licensed marriage and family therapists who specialize in couples counseling and relationship recovery. We have Psychology Today, therapist directory lets you search for therapists specifically experienced in infidelity, betrayal, and trauma, and couples therapy with filters for location insurance and online therapy. We have the Association for Partners of Sex Addicts and Trauma Specialists, a directory of clinicians trained in betrayal trauma therapy for partners dealing with infidelity and sexual addiction. And we have support groups for people healing from infidelity. We have Infidelity Survivors Anonymous, a 12-step support group for people recovering from betrayal trauma. We have Beyond Affairs Network. We have a global network offering in-person and virtual support groups for betrayed partners and affair recovery. We have the Affair Recovery provides online courses, coaching groups, and recovery programs focused on healing after affairs. And we have the Life Healing Counseling. It is offers trauma-informed counseling, EMDR, and couples therapy to rebuild trust after betrayal, and Insights Counseling Center. It provides therapy and resources aimed at helping betrayed partners process emotions and rebuild sense of safety. And these programs often focus on rebuilding trust, processing anger and grief and shock, and setting boundaries, deciding whether to repair or leave the relationship. Affordable therapy options. People sometimes share lower cost therapy options when finances are a barrier. One Reddit user recommended Open Path Collective, saying it helped them find therapists offering about $40 sessions through sliding scale rates after paying a small membership fee, and crisis immediate support. The 988 Suicide Lifeline. Call or text 988 in the U.S. for confidential support. Emergency services and local hospital can provide immediate help if someone feels unsafe or suicidal. Now let's talk about self-care after cheating. Self-care after infidelity involves prioritizing your emotional, physical, and mental health through professional counseling, establishing a support network of practicing compassion. Key steps include allowing yourself to feel, setting boundaries, focusing on personal, non relationship related growth, and maintaining physical needs like sleep and nutrition. Now, emotional and mental self-care allow and process the emotions, acknowledge feelings of grief, anger, and confusions without rushing the healing process. Practice self-compassion. Remind yourself that the betrayal is not a reflection of your self-worth, but a choice made by your partner. And journaling and mindfulness. Use journaling to process thoughts and engage in meditating and stay grounded. Avoid self blame. Actively combat negative internal dialogue and insecurities by focusing on your inherent value, and prioritize self care. Prioritize basic needs. Focus on eating nutritious foods, even if appetite is low, and ensuring adequate sleep. Physical activity. Engage in physical activities like walking, running, yoga to release stress. I'll always recommend yoga to people. Pamper yourself. Simple acts like getting a massage or a haircut can help boost your mood. Seek professional counseling. Build a support group. Set boundaries and find support groups. Engage with affair recovery or online forums to connect with others who understand. And long-term recovery. Focus on personal growth, take your time, and spend time in nature. Now, something I totally recommend because I did it myself. Just healing and from being heartbroken from someone I love deeply, and the mess that happened to me afterwards. But besides that heartbreak, a lot of things happened to me afterwards that I needed healing from. I 10 out of 10 recommend doing a healing journey. It did amazing things for me. I come from a place of having the knowledge and education when it comes to psychology and how to heal, so that definitely helped me. Now, there's many different ways you can go about your healing journey. I happen to have different circumstances because I did have the education and the knowledge of how to go about it. I did seek the help with therapy. I got into hobbies. I did different things. It did open a lot of doors for me, and I've given many personal accounts of my healing journey, and I've come really far. I'm better because of it. My relationships have gotten better with people, and the healing was needed from way before the heartbreak occurred. Like, I had a lot of healing to do with my childhood trauma, which caused issues in my relationships during that time that I needed the healing from. So, healing journeys go really, really deep. They run really deep. They are like a roller coaster. One day you're happy. It is a journey, and I've been on it for a few years now, and I'm way better because of it. I focus on things that help me level up. I've learned skills, cooking, baking, crafting. I'm just now getting into crocheting. So I'm doing a lot of things to help myself keep myself busy rather than going around and sleeping with person to person or jumping into things. Everyone's different. People have needs, whatever. I chose to be celibate and not jump from bed to bed, but like I said, healing after infidelity is a profound journey, often described as a 2 to 5 year process that often requires significant emotional work from both partners to rebuild trust and safety. It involves moving through stages of shock, anger, and grief toward a new, softer, stronger future. For the betrayed partner, healing from trauma, acknowledge the pain. It is normal to feel intense, overwhelming emotions that make daily life difficult. The betrayal often causes traumatic symptoms. Seek support. Surround yourself with trusted friends, family, or counselors. Consider specialized support, such as Harboring Hope course to navigate pain. Practice self care. Focus on your physical and mental health. Simple actions like walking, journaling, or using grounding meditations. Go for hiking. Hiking, I totally recommend. Set boundaries, establish firm boundaries, and communicate your needs to the partner clearly. Avoid rushing. There is no perfect, fast way to heal. Give yourself grace and move at your own pace, and allow for the unfaithful partner becoming a healer. Stop all contact, immediate and permanent end contact with the affair partner. Show remorse. Take full, unreserved responsibility. I think this is just pretty much talking about like how to heal with the partner, but that's not really what I was going for. Make your life an open book to rebuild trust. Be patient with triggers. Understand that your partner will be triggered and that they may grieve in the long time. Be patient. Understand why. Work to understand why you chose to betray your partner. Okay, I'm more talking about like healing. Okay, so let's heal. The healing after being cheated on involves processing the anger, regaining self worth, and empowering yourself. Now, here are some songs that talk about empowering and rebuilding. Moving On, Irreplaceable by Beyonce. I love that song. An anthem about knowing your worth and realizing your partner is replaceable. Survivor, that's another good one. Destiny's Child focuses on thriving after a relationship ends. Stronger by Kelly Clarkson, a high energy song about becoming better after heartbreak. Shake It Out by Florence and the Machine, ideal for letting go of negativity and moving forward. Don't Bother by Shakira focuses on reclaiming your independence and moving on. Raw Emotion, Before He Cheats by Carrie Underwood, the ultimate cathartic song for righteous anger. You Oughta Know by Alanis Morissette, perfect for expressing intense, raw, and anger emotions. It's not right, but it's okay. Oh my god, I love that song. Now, I can't relate to that song, but I can sit in the car on like a road trip or something and play the Thunderpuss mix of it and just like sing. Oh my God. It's not right, but it's okay. Whitney Houston. Oh my God. 10 out of 10 recommended the regular version and the Thunderpuss mix. Oh my God. It's not right, but it's okay. One of my favorite songs. Noted. You need to know that about me. That is one of my favorite songs. You First by Paramore deals with the resentment and anger of betrayal. Cry Me a River by Justin Timberlake, a classic vindictive song about karma. Sadness and Grief of Letting Go, The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived by Taylor Swift, captures the disappointment of betrayal. Jolene, oh my god, I love that song, by Dolly Parton, explores the pain and insecurity caused by a third party. I'm Not the Only One by Sam Smith, that's another good one. And covers the pain of discovering infidelity. Resentment, Beyonce, a slow emotional song about the lingering bitterness. And My Tears Ricochet by Taylor Swift, a somber, powerful song about loss and betrayal. And finding self-worth in healing. Good Days by SZA, um, focuses on moving on and leaving negative energy behind. I Love Me by Megan Maroney, a song dedicated to self-love. My Own Hero by Andy Grammer, a song about finding the strength within yourself. Recovery by James Arthur, which focuses on taking ownership of your healing journey. And Let It Go by Beerson. I hope I said that right. A reminder about holding on is futile. These songs can help you process your emotions, take action to prioritize your well-being, and ultimately realize you have the power to start new. And being cheated on can deeply affect trust, confidence, and self-worth. These affirmations are going to help you. This is my favorite part. I love affirmations. So affirmations for people who've been cheated on. I did not deserve to be betrayed. Someone else's choice does not define my worth. I am worthy of loyalty and honesty and respect. I allow myself to feel my emotions and shame. Excuse me. My pain is valid and my healing matters. I am strong enough to move through this. I choose to treat myself with kindness during difficult times. I release the blame that does not belong to me. I deserve a relationship built on trust and honesty. I am learning to and growing through this experience. My heart will heal even if it takes time. I trust myself to make decisions that protect my peace. I am allowed to set boundaries that keep me safe. I am more than this betrayal. I'm rebuilding my confidence one step at a time. I will not let someone else's actions steal my self-worth. I am deserving of love that is faithful and secure. I am allowed to walk away from what hurts me. I am healing even on the days it feels slow. My future can be full of love and trust, and I am safe right now. This pain will not last forever. I'm worthy of real love. I deserve honesty, and I will get through this. My value has never changed. And for rebuilding trust in yourself, I trust my instincts more each day. I can learn from this without blaming myself. I will recognize healthy love when it comes. I am becoming stronger and wiser, and my heart is still capable of loving safely. Now, thank you guys for listening. Next episode will be next Friday, and the topic will be sexual assault and mental health. The one after will be about eating disorders, and the one after that will be about phobias, and the one after that I have to get inspired. Like I have to kind of see what that one's going to be about. But I have time. I have like 3 or 4 weeks to really decide. Um, Once again, thank you guys for the support. I love you all so much. And there's a lot going on in the news in regards to people losing, like celebrities losing their loved ones or celebrities just committing suicide. And it breaks my heart. I think his name was Robert Carradine. He was in Lizzie McGuire. I remember watching him as a kid. He was like a TV dad. He was in Revenge of the Nerds. My heart goes out to Martin Short. He lost his daughter to suicide. Oh my God, just hearing about this, and even in general, like just regular people, like everyone is affected by suicide every day. And like there was a girl, or a person who I just heard about in the local news in Long Island committed suicide, on a local roadway. It really pains me, and I just wish that when you hear about people committing suicide, you, as a mental health advocate, you just wish that you could you could have done something to help prevent it. Like it's so sad. And it's sad that people get to the point where they their only option. My heart goes out to anybody affected by suicide loss, or anybody who's, if you're thinking of doing it, there is help out there. And I know that um my podcast has gone global after hearing about it being in Tanzania. So I kind of feel like I gotta start, and I kind of have to figure out how to do this um without fear of timing. I kind of want to give resources worldwide. Anybody listens, no matter where they are. I'm only aware that it's in Tanzania. I don't know anywhere else, but I'm going to do this without fear of timing and without knowledge of where else my podcast is being listened to from. So I'm going to give some global suicide prevention resources. And this is, I'm going to do it without fear of timing because I want to help people. International directories to find help. So we have International Association for Suicide Prevention. It maintains a worldwide directory of crisis centers and helplines. Befrienders Worldwide is a network with hundreds of emotional support centers in dozens of countries offering phone, email, and chat support. And Find a Helpline is an online tool that connects people to crisis lines in many countries and languages. Then we have major suicide crisis hotlines by region. The United States, we have the 988 Suicide Crisis Lifeline. Call or text 988 24/7. You can text home to 741-741. In Canada, the 988 Suicide Lifeline as well. And the Talk Suicide Canada is 1-833-456-4566. Once again, it's 1-833-456-4566. And then we have the United Kingdom, the Samaritans. Call 116, and that's 24/7. The number is 116-123. It's 24/7. We have Europe. We have France. The number for the National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 3114. The number is 3114. For Germany, it is 0800-111-0111. I'll repeat that. 0800-111-0111. Now we have Spain. The number is 717-003-717. And I'll repeat that. 717-003-717. And then we have the Netherlands. It is 0900-011. And then I'll repeat that. It is 0900-0113. And then we have Australia and New Zealand. In Australia, the lifeline is 131114, and that is 24/7 as well. And then in New Zealand, the lifeline is 0800 543 354. I'll repeat that. It is 0800 543 354. And I'll repeat the one for Australia as well. For Australia, it is 131114. We have Asia and India. The Vandravala Foundation helpline is 1-860-266-2345. The number is 1-860-266-2345. And then we have Japan, the Tokyo English Lifeline, 03-5774-0992. The number is 03-5774-0992. In China, the Beijing Suicide Prevention Center is 800-810-1117. In Beijing, the Suicide Prevention Center, the number is, once again, I'll repeat it, 800-810-1117. In the Middle East, we have Israel. It's Iran. It's ERAN 1201. In Lebanon, life. And once again, it's ERA. The number is 1201. In Lebanon, it is 1564. And UAE, the number is 800-4673. The number, once again, is 800-4673. And I know, like I said, I was aware that Tanzania is a country that is listening in. So I will give some prevention resources across Africa. We have the African Suicide Prevention Association, a continent-wide network working to prevent suicide through awareness, research, and crisis support resources across African countries. Befrienders Worldwide International Network, emotional support centers in several African countries offering listening services and crisis support. And then we have South African Depression and Anxiety Group. The number for that is 800. Oh, no, sorry. Let me repeat. That is 567 567. The number, I'll read that again, 0800 567 567. The lifeline in Southern Africa is 0861 322 322. I'll read that again. The lifeline in Southern Africa is 0861 322 322. And the child line South Africa is 0800055555. I'll read that again. 0800555555. In Nigeria, Suicide Research and Prevention Initiative, the number is 0908021755. And the other number is 0903440009. I'll repeat that again. The number is 0908021755. The other number is 090344000009. The other number is 081199. Repeat that again, 081111909909. And actually, hold on, am I reading this wrong? I think the numbers are like dash, dash, dash. So I'll read that going by the dash. I'll start over with that. The Suicide Research and Prevention Initiative in Nigeria, the number is 0908 021755 dash 0903 44000009 dash 0811909909 dash 0701381143. And we have the Nigeria Suicide Prevention Initiative. The number is 08621 06493 dash 080921069493. I'll read that again. We have the Nigeria Suicide Prevention line is 08062 106493 dash 0892 08092 106493. And in Kenya, the Befrienders Kenya is plus 254 722 178 177 plus 254 722 178 177. That was just me repeating it. In Ghana, we have the Accra Psychiatric Hospital. Excuse me. The number is plus 233 302 221 202. I'll repeat that. Plus 233 302 221 202. And the Lifeline Ghana is plus 244 846 701. The Lifeline in Ghana plus 233 244 846 701. In Morocco, the Soirée de Rada is Befrienders Casablanca. The number is plus 212 522 874740. Repeat that again, plus 212 522 874740. And then we have the SOS Suicide in Morocco. It is plus 212 623 894343. Plus 212 623 894343. In Egypt, it's Befrienders Cairo. The number is 62. Sorry, let me repeat that. The number is 7602 slash 7621603 slash 7622381. Repeat that again. 7621602 slash 7621603 slash 7622381. We have the Egyptian Ministry of Mental Health hotline is 16328. In Botswana, Lifeline, the number is 3911 270. In Uganda, the National Crisis Lifeline, the number is 0800 200 600. I'll repeat that again. In Uganda, the National Crisis Lifeline is 0800 200 600. And then we have it Zimbabwe, the Samaritans of Zimbabwe, 0800 12 333 333. And if somebody is in immediate danger, they should contact the local emergency services or go to the nearest hospital. And we have Australia and Oceania. Australia, the lifeline is 13 11 14, 13 11 14. And in New Zealand, the lifeline is 0800 543 354. I'll read that again. 0800 543 354. And in South America, in Brazil, the number is 188. And in Argentina, the number is 134. Once again, in Brazil, it is 188. And in Argentina, it is 135. And now that I talked about the global suicide prevention, I'm going to find a way to do all that in like a much more organized way. I just wanted to give my resources for global suicide resources after, like, what's been going on in the news lately. A lot of suicides happening. It's sad. Okay. So now thank you guys for listening. Now, if you or anyone you know is struggling, you can text HOME to 741-741, the crisis text line, for a free confidential conversation with a trained counselor at any time of day. Text or call 988 or use that chat function 988lifeline.org. 988 continues to offer support to anyone who needs it, but no longer offers specialized LGBTQ plus support. If you are looking for specialized LGBTQ plus support, you can call 1-866-488-7386 or text START to 678-678 or connect online at trvr.org/get-help. You can find more crisis resources at thejedfoundation.org/crisis. And from Canada, the LGBTQIA plus support given by Canada due to it being taken away in the United States is 1-877-330-6366. And you can call the NAMI helpline at 800-950-6264. You can text NAMI 62640. The Find Help tool at twlohA.com/find-help. I'll read that again. twlohA.com/find-help. And peer support groups with twlohA.com/peer support. And the mental health toolkit, mentalhealthtoolkit.co. And the crisis text line, you can text TWLOHA to 741-741. Thank you guys for listening. See you next time. Remember, this too shall pass. I love you guys. Stay well. Enjoy your weekends. Love you guys. Bye bye. Oh man.